Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, just held a disastrous press conference in the Oval Office as she was asked a ton of questions about Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein after the bombshell release of new Jeffrey Epstein emails to Ghislaine Maxwell and others showing deep connections to Donald Trump, including Epstein calling him a very dirty individual, and Epstein also referring to Donald Trump as being at Epstein's home on a number of occasions with a victim, and there were more damaging emails there as well. Also, Donald Trump continues to spiral this morning and into the afternoon. He's making posts about this, calling it a hoax and blaming the Democrats for costing the country $1.5 trillion. Let me break down everything that's going down here. First, let's go to the White House, where this disastrous press conference just concluded moments ago. So the chief propagandist for the White House, Caroline Leavitt, said, "We are cooperating at the White House with the release of these files." And she says, that's why the files got released today, because we're being so transparent about it. No, Caroline, you're covering up the Epstein files. These documents were released from the Epstein estate and obtained by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, who went directly to the estate because Trump and MAGA Mike and the MAGA Republicans are covering up the Epstein files. Here, play this clip.
Mary. Thank you, Galen. Two questions on this. In the interest of transparency, why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is.
A reporter then asks Caroline Leavitt if Donald Trump is considering a pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is currently preparing those paperwork with the help of the prison warden at the minimum security facility she was moved into by the Trump regime against Bureau of Prison rules. She's not allowed to be at this Camp Bryan in Texas because it's a minimum security facility and she's a convicted child sex trafficker, so she's not allowed to be there, but she's getting like 5-star treatment. Caroline Leavitt does not rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's play this clip.
Stephen, go ahead.
Well, if the president is considering a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell.
Again, he's answered this repeatedly. It's not something he's talking about or even thinking about at this moment in time. I can assure you of that. Steve.
Next up, Caroline Leavitt is asked if Donald Trump spent days or hours, or just did Donald Trump hang out at Epstein's house a lot, where there were victims present, where there were not victims present, just setting aside the emails that were released today because y'all claim everything is a hoax. What we just want to know was, did he hang out with Epstein in Epstein's house with victims present? And then Caroline Leavitt's like, the emails prove absolutely nothing. That wasn't the question, Caroline. Listen to the question. Oh, wait, if you answer it, you may be incriminating Donald Trump. Here, play this clip.
Thanks for being here, Bev. Ouija.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us. Mary.
Next up, a reporter asked Caroline Levitt about Donald Trump summoning Lauren Boebert to the Oval Office to meet with Donald Trump in an emergency meeting to try to convince her, or some might say threaten her, to remove her name from the discharge petition, where Adelita Grijalva would have become the 218th person to sign that discharge petition, leading to the release of the Epstein files, or a vote to be taken for the release of the Epstein files. So a reporter says, so why are you doing that? If you claim you're being transparent, why are you having people like Lauren Boebert show up and telling them to remove their name from the discharge petition to hide the Epstein files? Watch this response right here. Play this clip.
Government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency. Having discussions with members of Congress about various issues, and I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room in the press briefing room. Reagan.
No, Caroline, that does not show transparency. That quite literally shows a cover-up. I mean, these people gaslight and lie about everything. And again, I don't care what political party you're from, even if you don't care about politics at all. You're watching what I'm watching, and we're watching liars. We're watching right here a group of despicable human beings in the White House covering up for a child sex trafficking ring. We're seeing that play out in real time. That shouldn't be political. That should just be morality. And we're seeing that take place. Next up, a reporter asked Caroline Levitt, does Donald Trump think that Prince Andrew, or formerly Prince Andrew, should come and testify before Congress on the Epstein matter? Here, play this clip.
Some Democratic members of Congress have invited Britain's former Prince Andrew to testify on the Epstein scandal. I was just wondering if President Trump thinks that former Prince Andrew should indeed come and testify to Congress on that.
I haven't spoken to him about that specific matter, but I can ask him and get back to you. Mm-hmm.
Another reporter says, can you give us more information about that MRI that Donald Trump took? What's going on there? Can we see the results? Of course you can't see the results. This is the Trump regime. They cover up everything. Caroline Levitt said, yeah, sure, we told you about that, but just trust us. He's in the greatest health, as we've said. The MRIs showed that everything is perfect. Hey, Caroline, what part of the body was the MRI in? Was it in the head area? Was it in the chest area? Was it in the leg area? It's not normal to get MRIs during physicals, nor is it normal to have physicals every 6 months in this way where MRIs are needed. But anyway, go on. Go ahead and lie, Caroline. Here, play this clip.
You recently said you checked with President Trump about why he needed to get an MRI on his recent trip to Walter Reed. Do you have any more detail on that?
I do, and I'm glad you asked. As stated in the memo provided on October 10th, President Trump received advanced imaging at Walter Reed Medical Center as part of his routine physical examination. The full results were reviewed by attending radiologists and consultants, and all agreed that President Trump remains in exceptional physical health, which I know all of you will see with your own eyes later this evening when he opens up his dinner to the press, and perhaps you will see him when he signs the bill to reopen the federal government. So stay tuned on plans for that. Thank you, everyone.
You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually excited to do laundry now. Yeah, I said it. That's how obsessed I've become with laundry sauce. The smell is unreal. Hey, I've tried all the scents, but right now I am hooked on Himalayan cashmere. It's their newest launch, and honestly, it feels like wrapping yourself in a cashmere blanket fresh out of the dryer. It's this soft blend of airy florals, sweet pear, and warm amber with a base of creamy sandalwood and Himalayan musk. It's sophisticated, cozy, and totally addictive. And if you want something a little bolder, Australian sandalwood has that warm, rugged confidence, like your favorite white tea that somehow makes you feel pulled together every single time. Or try French saffron. It's rich, vibrant, full of character with notes of saffron, cherry, and caramel. Whichever scent you choose, Laundry Sauce makes every wash feel like a 5-star experience. The pre-measured pods take out all the guesswork, and my clothes smell so good, people literally stop me and ask me what cologne I'm wearing, and I gotta say, it's just my laundry. This holiday season, turn your routine into a ritual with Laundry Sauce. During our Black Friday, Cyber Monday signature sale, you'll save up to 40%, get $75 in free gifts, and free shipping at laundrysauce.com/Midas20. It's the perfect time to treat yourself or gift the world's most luxurious detergent to someone you love. That's laundrysauce.com/Midas20, MEIDAS20.
Next up, Caroline Leavitt is asked about Trump's 50-year mortgage scheme, which would basically allow for a ballooning of interest or an increase of interest like 95% more or 85% more interest would accrue. It would, the monthly principal may be less, but the interest continues to grow. It's a horrible idea. Caroline Leavitt's like, we're looking into it. We look into things. I don't answer. I just say we look into things. Here, play this clip.
And there's been some reporting that the White House is frustrated with Bill Pulte and the rollout of this proposal for a 50-year mortgage. Can you tell us if the White House is frustrated with that rollout and if the White House still supports the idea of a 50-year mortgage for Americans?
This is a proposal that the president himself has commented on. I would refer you to the president's statements, and it's something that the administration is discussing and seriously looking into.
Next up, Caroline Leavitt is asked why the Trump regime refused to tap into the contingency fund to pay the SNAP benefits. And Caroline Leavitt said, we did tap into the contingency fund, but we didn't want to tap into the Children's Nutrition Fund because that would have been an overreach to feed starving children. We think that that was judicial overreach, so that's why we did not do it? No, you didn't go into the contingency fund. Let's be clear. You were ordered to go into the contingency fund. You paid half. And then you refused to just make the payments generally and appealed to the Supreme Court and said that you refused to pay. Anyway, play this clip of Caroline Leavitt. Let's play it.
In several hours, President Trump, the government is going to be reopened and SNAP recipients are going to receive their full benefits, which is what President Trump has always wanted to do. Stephen.
Why also did you need the judicial process for that? I mean, during this shutdown, didn't the administration have a responsibility to tap into any of those reserves to ensure that essentially
we did tap into it. We did tap into the contingency fund. And then the judge told us, no, you have to get more money from a children's nutrition fund. And we felt that was judicial overreach. You shouldn't tell the president which fund he has to rob because the Democrats are holding the country hostage by shutting down the federal government. Steve.
And then Caroline Leavitt says, you know what also? We may no longer publish data about inflation or jobs reports or anything going forward. And she says the Democrats permanently damaged the federal statistical system, so we no longer can tell you what the inflation numbers are, what job loss numbers are, what GDP numbers are. You can't trust any of these numbers in the future. The Democrats, she says, broke the statistics. I don't know, Caroline. How about the fact that Donald Trump fired the former commissioner at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and then fired the data collectors and then changed the data aggregation of the info that goes into the CPI so that almost half of all of the data ingested regardless right now is just made up by the Trump regime versus the actual cost of products because we don't have people in the field gathering that data anymore. So no, Caroline, I would say that it's you who broke this data because we've had government shutdowns before. We've had a lot of other presidents and a lot of other systems before, and never have we had someone break the system. And isn't it kind of coincidental that y'all break like every system? Maybe there's something to do with you and the fact that Donald Trump bankrupted everything essentially before he got into power. Bankrupted this company, that company, bankrupted this casino, that casino, and he's kind of doing it again with these United States. But play the clip.
Economists, investors, and policymakers at the Federal Reserve to receive critical government data. The Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system with October CPI and jobs reports likely never being released. And all of that economic data released will be permanently impaired, leaving our policymakers at the Fed flying blind at a critical period.
Then Caroline Leavitt says, the thing that you need to know is that Donald Trump's already made great progress in cleaning up the bad economy. The bad economy? Actually, the Wall Street Journal, The Economist, said that we were having a Goldilocks economy, that America's economy was the envy of the world before Donald Trump took over, but here we are now. Here, play this clip.
There's much work to do, and this administration will continue to do it. But President Trump has already made great progress in cleaning up the economic disaster that was created by Joe Biden.
But of course, Caroline Leavitt lies about everything. It's no different than North Korea's pink dress lady. Perhaps Caroline Leavitt is even more absurd than pink dress lady that you see right there. And how's Donald Trump handling this all? Well, here's the post he made moments ago from his social media. Very normal behavior from the President of the United States. I'm joking, of course. He goes, "The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics," makes up numbers, "of viciously closing our country while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats." I mean, do y'all remember, though, back in the day when MAGA Mike Johnson, by back in the day, I mean October 21st, when MAGA Mike Johnson held a press conference and he was like, remember those humiliation rituals he would do every morning? And he's like, and now the Democrats are saying that there's somehow going to be damaging info in the Epstein files. Remember when he said this? Here, play this clip.
A leader, they don't have any identifiable set of policy solutions for the problems facing the American people. Their party continues to hit all-time historic lows in poll after poll after poll, and many of you have reported on that. These are objective facts. They're utterly lost as a party, and everybody can see it. So what are they doing? They see a shiny object, and they latch onto it. Democrats did not say one word about the Epstein files for the entire Biden presidency. They had all the files in the Biden DOJ. They didn't say a word about it. 4 years, not a word. And suddenly now they somehow convince themselves that the Epstein files will be damaging to President Trump and Republicans in some way that they've imagined. And so they feign outrage.
Okay, MAGA Mike. Well, the info we're getting right now, it's not even from the Epstein files because y'all are covering that up. Imagine what's in those. We're getting these from the Epstein estate right now, and these are incredibly, incredibly damaging emails. I mean, Epstein talking about Trump being at the house, Epstein calling him a really dirty man, Epstein talking about the WPB West Palm Beach property, and they, being the feds, may have already talked to Donald Trump, calling Trump the dog that hasn't barked yet. Him and Michael Wolff on these emails talking about the dirt that Epstein may have on Donald Trump. Not good, fellas. Not good. And you saw Mike Johnson's thing, right? Okay. Finally, you have Caroline Leavitt right here. She's asked a funny question about Josh Schlossberg, who's running for Congress in New York. And just watch this. Funny way to end it. Play it.
Mr. Mamdani.
My second question, Jack Schlossberg, the grandson of President Kennedy, announced today that he's running for Congress. He, in the recent past, has referred to his uncle, the HHS secretary, as, quote, a rabid dog, and he has said that the Trump administration is, quote, the most corrupt in American history. Does the White House have a comment on this sort of comment from a rising star in the Democratic Party?
I don't even think such ridiculous comments are worth responding to. Obviously, those things are not true. And Secretary Kennedy is doing a phenomenal job bringing transparency and the gold standard of science back to our healthcare system.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. We appreciate you as always.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.